I'm here with Hakim from Deadlord to talk about Dystopia. It was released back in March on Century Media. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm gonna go out and get some beers, so I'm looking forward to the liquid gold.
The nectar from the gods.
Yes.
So, what motivated you guys, or what inspired you guys to release this EP following the success of 2020 Surrender?
Um, well, basically, that year didn't end up, it succumbed to COVID, so we couldn't get out touring with a new album. So we thought we'd try again, basically, and it's kind of boring to just go out touring on an old album. So we thought we'd have a like maxi single thing going on instead. We had a bunch of tracks that we had recorded earlier, so we thought, like, why not release them on vinyl, have people make a cool cover artwork as well, and have people buy it and hopefully like it.
Did you have a criteria, or did the band have a criteria when it came to choosing the songs to include on this EP?
Yeah, I mean, we want to choose cool songs, but things that aren't like doing a Judas Priest cover is kind of or something like that, or a Kiss tune. I mean, we've done things like that, but it's more fun to do a few tracks that people might not be too familiar with, and like introduce them in a way, and also like put our own touch on it. It's sort of a nice little give and take, and thanks, and look what we have. How about this? Like, you show people a bit of the other songs that they might have not heard of.
Is it less stressful? Is it more fun to do an EP than to work on a full-length record?
Yeah. This one was like, we stood around, recorded everything in the studio like 2 days, and you can even hear us shouting in the overhead microphones and stuff like that. So it was more of like a relaxed rehearsal rather than a serious, now you got to make it now recording session. So yeah, of course, and it's fun to do it like that also, because then you get a different kind of vibe. It's a bit more relaxed, and maybe the notes are a bit different every now and then, but I think that adds to the whole thing as well.
And that's in the mystique.
Oh yeah, is it mystique? It is. All right.
I think that's the word you should be going for.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, aura, mystique, any of those words.
Yeah, the aura of playing I wouldn't say wrong notes, but the sneaky ones.
That's funny. What, in your opinion, makes a cover song a great cover song?
The vibe. I mean, of course, it's got to be a good song, and a good song is, well, that's subjective, I guess, but well, but then the vibe, and also like some artists or some singers and some musicians, they have like a certain thing that is really hard to kind of capture. I'd say, like, be careful with covering Queen and Dio and Yngwie Malmsteen, because it's kind of, you can't really make it your own, and if you do, the odds that it's better than the original are fairly low. So I mean, there's got to be room for sort of your own interpretation, and you should be able to like form it in a certain way, and not all good songs are like that. Like, black metal songs are really hard to make your own. You can't really do a swing version of a black metal song. It's like
you could try, but
yes, but who would like it? Not the swing people, and not the black metal people. Absolutely not the black metal people. So
that's 100%. That's 100%. When you look at making a cover, is it, perhaps from your own experience, is it more difficult to go outside of the genre that you're currently in, or is it more difficult to cover a band that's within the same genre due to the similarities of the sound?
I think it's more difficult to do it like if you try to do pretty much exactly what the original song is doing, like same sort of intensity, same genre, because then people just compare it apples to apples, and it's I mean, I think it's a bit harder to have people liking your version, because why would they? Because they're used to the original one, and now there's just a doofus singing it instead. So, like, why? You got to have some sort of. I mean, all bands have their own sounds, I guess, in a way. So that's something. But you know, it's when sometimes when people sound, you know, do you know who Jörn Lande is?
Yep.
Singer. Yeah, well, he covers like Dio and Coverdale, and it sounds like Dio and Coverdale, but not really. And it's just like, why? Why would you? Come on, man. So when you start to like sneak up on those sort of turfs, that's kind of like, what's the point? But if you get your own sound, you want to speed it up, slow it down, and you got a drummer that plays weird, or a guitar player that's got a certain tone, then surely that could make it like a completely different thing.
When you were putting these covers together, how much of your own DNA of Deadlord did you want to infuse into these songs, and how much of the original DNA were you comfortable enough to leave it there and still make this song kind of your own?
I think the limit is my my ear. Like if I try to get all the chords right, then I'm pretty happy. And you know, the arrangement, I like to keep that intact. Sometimes speeding it up or slowing it down, depending on like what you want to go for, that could be a thing. And also, personally, I got this, you know, sort of voice like a crying dog, so that kind of adds
Wow, what a definition.
Someone, that was the best I've heard so far. It was a review in Sweden Rock magazine. It said the singer sounds like a crying Paul Stanley. I mean, thank you.
Is that a bad thing? I'm not quite sure if that's a bad thing. Like,
I don't know. It's a good thing. In my mind, it's a good thing.
In my mind, it actually sounds more like a compliment than it does as a negative comment.
Yeah, but then the other reviewer said I looked like I sounded like someone from Family Guy, Chris Griffin or something. So it was kind of even.
Now that is definitely negative. That is definitely negative.
Well, I guess I don't watch the show, but yeah.
That's definitely not a positive. Which one of these cover songs gave you a little bit more trouble? Was a little bit more of a nightmare?
Well, the Winterhawk tune, maybe, because there's a gazillion notes in there. And also they're different versions of the same thing over and over again, with just one note played differently. And you know, it's just trying to keep track of that is kind of tricky when you're used to verse, chorus, solo, you know, that sort of thing. But it's nice to prove to yourself that you're able to do it. And no one can, I mean, when you listen to the album, no one can really hear how many takes you did, right? So of course it was the first take.
I love the attitude. You're the absolute best. I love this attitude. When did you guys pick Dystopia as the song to take from Surrender and bring over to this EP? What was special about that song?
It's one of my favorite tracks, if not the favorite track from the album, and it kind of, you know, we didn't do a single with that one, so, and neither did we do a music video, which we were supposed to do, but we kind of messed that one up because the record label got fairly disappointed there. But yeah, so we wanted to, like, you know, push that song in a way to just shine some light on it and tell people to listen to it.
It's a great song. You know, it's a really defining track, if you will. I'm actually surprised it wasn't a single, because it has the strength and it has all the elements that you need from a single track.
Oh, thank you. It's also very dark and dire.
Yeah. And it comes at the end of Surrender. So you guys kind of hate it all the way to the end.
Yeah, you gotta keep one. That's how you do it, right?
Yeah,
One of the best
I mean, it
songs
forces
gotta be the
everybody to
last
listen
one.
to the record all the way to the end.
Yeah. So let's see. Song number 2 needs to be a really good one, and the last one. That, I think those are the rules, and you need to have one that's kind of the slow one or the odd one.
Yeah,
That's
in the
the
middle,
recipe.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Those are definitely the rules of putting a record together.
Yep.
When it came to Letter from Allen Street, did singing in how did this song change? Because you're singing it in a different language than the original. So what changed for you outside, obviously, of not being in its original format? Was there anything specifically that you had to work on that song in order to work in this format?
Yeah, well, I like to keep like the sort of story intact, even when translated. And it's kind of like it's a weird puzzle kind of thing where you have to like keep the plot, so to say, the same, but also the rhymes rhyming here and there in the same way, and kind of, and I really like that. I think it's really fun to write a song in English and then have try to translate it and get it working in Swedish. So that was fun. But then when we recorded it, it kind of sounded like a different genre. I don't know how it sounds to someone who isn't a Swedish native Swedish speaker, but to us it sounded like Swedish 70s. Like there's a sort of Swedish thing called prog that is not really like the prog music that people talk about. It's more of like a poorly executed political sort of. It was like a political movement, like everyone can play music, everyone can write poems and sing them, that sort of thing. And it kind of sounds almost like those songs, just from changing the language, which was cool, surprising. And also, we never get to play in Sweden, so I thought, hey, let's try singing in Swedish and see if someone notices.
You're trying to throw the hook out there and hopefully you'll catch some fish.
Yes.
I love the idea. I mean, it's simple and well executed. I love it. I know you mentioned that some people said that your vocals sound like a crying Paul Stanley. So when it comes to these covers, are you trying to cry less? Are you trying to be a little bit more like the original? What are you trying to do vocally?
When we recorded, I think it was the second album, we had Nick Anderson, the Helicopters dude. He recorded lyrics with us and produced it. And he was like, he always told me to back off and not, be so sounding like a squealing door as much, and I did. So on that album, I was like a bit more laid back, but I didn't really like that. So I just started to sing more like my natural way of singing, which is kind of, loud and like that. And I don't really think about it now anymore. It's just like the only time I think it's too much is when I look at live clips sometimes and I'm, had a few beers and I'm like really feeling it. And then I kind of go overboard. Also, tour voice. You're like on the third week of touring and your voice is almost gone. It's just like, it sounds a bit clowny. But I don't really think too much about it. It becomes what it becomes.
For those fans out there like myself, I mean, I had heard a little bit of you guys before this EP, but this EP was perhaps the gateway drug to Deadlord. What do you hope this EP does for those fans that are discovering the band with it?
I hope we get out playing more. We had almost 3 years with not that many live shows. We used to play all the time. And that's really why we are a band, to get out there and see places and meet people and bring smiles or tears to people, get reactions going. So that's what we want to do, and that was like the plan all along with every release, to get out there, not to tour, to like uh, um, to sell the album, rather have an album to promote the shows.
Yeah, all the tours. I get it.
So yeah, we want to tour. I want to get over to the Americas and basically play as much as we can.
I have one last question for you, and that is, now that you have this EP under your belt, now that shows are coming back, tours are coming back, I know here in Canada, North America, it's busy as hell. It seems like every day there's a different band coming to town to play a show. What plans do you guys have? Are you guys currently working on another full-length record that pushes you into 2023, and then the doors open for a longer tour, bigger tour?
I mean, I think we need to get out and play a few shows and get into trouble and have some, something to write songs about. We got some ideas. We haven't really been rehearsing anything, and we haven't set a date as for recording a new album. But there will be another one. I'm not sure. We're always late with that sort of stuff. It's the creative process when it comes to Deadlord is kind of book a date for the studio and finish right before deadline. So I guess as soon as I think we want to play the summer and the fall shows, and then maybe get together in the winter time and see if we could have it done by spring or maybe next fall.
You have to have a gun to your head in order to get the creative flowing.
And it works really good, but I hate it. I hate the creative process. I get severe anxiety and I don't sleep. I sit up till like 6 in the morning and I know,
but you're creating your own nightmare.
I mean,
you're putting yourself in that position.
Yep. And I don't really like it, and my bandmates don't really like it, but it works. Sure, it's a great way of doing it because it's the only way of doing it.
You gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. You have to take those bumps along the way.
Yeah.
Well, Hakim, was an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. You're a stand-up guy. I love this EP. It was a lot of fun to listen to it. I hope to see you guys in Canada and North America soon on a tour, so that I can judge for myself the whole Crying Paul Stanley situation on the third week of the tour.
Sure. We'll try to get over there as soon as possible. There's only a plane right away.
Yeah, that is true. It's only a plane right away, and the air is as good here as it is in Sweden. So there you go.
Yeah, it's crisp and smells of maple syrup.
Maple syrup. I was just gonna say it smells of maple syrup and dirty hockey jerseys. That's kind of like the aroma.
And Yeti poo, maybe.
Yeah, Sasquatch. We have Sasquatch, I think.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, in North America, I think you have to go with Sasquatch. That's the going theme these days. All right, bro. Thank you for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. Go have those beers and enjoy the rest of the week and the weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
All the best.
Cheers.